I don't even have an intro for this. All I know is that I should film something. Today is September 20th, so it's been, 11 days since I last uploaded? But I feel like shit. I started my period yesterday and it's just made me really exhausted. Ever since having my son, literally, I have cramps in the lower back and in the stomach now. So that's fun, not really. I'm gonna try to keep this short-ish, 15-20 minutes, but I figured that I should update everybody and myself, I guess, to look back on about what's been happening over the last 11 days. I'm looking at the calendar right now just to kind of try and get a better timeline because my sense of time is trash. So firstly, I have a job now. I work at a restaurant, again as a server, which is something that I was trying to avoid doing, but you know, old habits die hard. So I started training on Thursday, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just starting to get those tip wages again, which is really good. I was very excited to get the job. The coworkers are very interesting. I don't think that it's good or bad right now. It's just very different than the last environment that I was in. And I'm interested to see how the work environment's gonna be while I'm on the floor. Went to therapy, been thinking a lot about my mental health and why I think some things the way that I do. And I'm not happy. Literally have never, ever, ever lived my life for myself. Everybody's always made the decisions for me, where I'm gonna live, how I'm gonna live, what my role is, what my identity is. I've always lived my life to serve other people and make sure that their happiness is top priority. And it's just kind of blowing my mind. I never had a choice in anything in life. Even when I thought that I was making choices, I wasn't really making choices. Every decision that I made that I thought that I was making independently was not for myself, it was for somebody else. That does obviously come with a few exceptions, but I can't go into detail about those things right now because they do involve other people and I'm not comfortable putting out other people's business. But there were a couple situations in which I chose my own happiness over somebody else's. And even then, now, I feel hella guilty about it. As if I shouldn't have made those decisions and should have just sucked it up and let myself be unhappy so that person could be happy. And that's not fair to me. What kind of life is that? Living in misery so somebody else can live in happiness. I just feel at this point in my life that I was literally groomed all the way till age 20 to be her servant forever. And when I didn't have her anymore, I started taking that attitude towards my friendships and romantic relationships. And that's probably why I have such a huge identity crisis. Actually, I'm pretty sure that is why. Making revelations. I have a huge identity crisis because my identity has always been wrapped up in somebody else. And doing anything on my own without instructions or anything like that is super scary. I hate it. I don't want to do it. I just want somebody to tell me what to do for the rest of my life. And that's because somebody did tell me what to do my entire life. Exactly how to do things and formed those kinds of obsessive routines and And now I'm just like carrying it over into everything in my life. I even want my son to tell me what to do sometimes. I'm just like, what do you want? Exactly how do you want it? Like, and then I'll get that for you. I'll do that for you or whatever. And that's not gonna be healthy for him either as he gets older. I don't know. And then something else that I was talking to my therapist about was that a neighbor made a criticism about how we were being too loud in the apartment because I was playing with my son. And it was like 9 p.m. or something like that. And he came up to tell me that, like, asked us to please keep it down because his baby's trying to sleep. Like, I'm pretty sure their baby's a girl and she's only a few months old, so she still has like all that weird sleeping cycle stuff going on. And like, instead of taking it like a mature adult, like I feel like I treated him really kindly, but that was several days ago. That I think that was literally over the weekend or like Friday or something like that. And I've still been stewing about it, even though I know that it's freaking ridiculous to be upset about still. Like, I'm not as upset as I was then, but I had to break it down to my therapist. I was just like, his request was not unreasonable. I got so frustrated with it because anytime somebody criticizes me about anything, or I think that they're criticizing me, I immediately get angry and start defending myself and think that that person thinks that I'm a horrible person and I need to go die in a ditch and like I don't deserve to be living on this earth and all that kind of stuff. And she told me that when we have no self-esteem or self-worth, that's what happens, is like we react to criticism in that way. And then she asked me the question, like, what would it take to love yourself? And I was just like, I don't know. And that's how I got to the whole idea of like, I have no identity. My identity has always been wrapped up in somebody else. So I guess I have homework to do. And I just don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to start caring about myself. Like, I can say the words like, I deserve to be cared about, I deserve to be loved, I deserve to have self-worth, I deserve to practice self-care. But like, feeling that, and like, I can say the words and I understand it logically, but feeling it in my heart, I just don't. Like, I don't want to die or anything like that. I'm absolutely afraid of death. But it's also just like, when am I gonna start living life the way that I want to live it? I don't know, and I don't know how to get there. So my mental health is not great. I'm PMSing right now, so like my emotions are a little bit higher today. I've already almost cried twice, and I was just like, come on, I don't want it. And then all this therapy stuff that's just gotten me thinking for the past few days. It's just a lot. And then it also just makes me feel regret because I didn't really allow myself. I allowed myself for a portion of my life to be treated this way, but I've allowed myself to just be people's servants. Like, even helping people out when I didn't necessarily want to, but I knew that somebody like needed help and I was convinced that I was the only person that was going to be able to help them. I did it, even if I didn't exactly want to, or didn't have the energy to, or whatever. So I guess that's the mental health part of it. My physical health, it's a 50-50. Not gonna lie. This week I did drink on 3 days. Got too drunk on one of them, So still a slight improvement, but we would like to really have 0 2 drunk days. And I felt like shit afterwards. And I've noticed that like the cycle of drinking is that I'll drink that night or like that afternoon, and then I may or may not order food to the apartment that night, and then I will also order food the next day. So if I limit my drinking, then I will cut out like eating out 4 to 6 times in a week, which, hello, have you seen DoorDash? It's hella expensive between like the actual price of the food, the delivery fee that doesn't even go to the delivery driver, plus the tip, plus tax. Like, it's too much. Like, literally, I got Chinese food from Panda Express, and instead of like driving up the street myself, it ended up being $50. And that's for like 1 plate of food. You know what I could buy for $50? A whole hell of a lot more groceries than that freaking plate that I got. And I didn't even eat all of it. It was too sweet. And their lo mein is trash. So, whatever on that front. So, for the rest of this month, I guess I'm going to keep a better eye on my drinking. I'm going to understand triggers more, because apparently I have a lot of them. Because every time I talk to my therapist, she's just like, oh, it sounds like that triggered you. And I was like, what? I've always been this way. Yeah, well, Melody, you're always in fight or flight mode whenever the slightest thing happens. So be more mindful about what triggers me, what my response is afterwards, and then how to resolve that. And I definitely need to exercise and eat better. I feel like I didn't do too terribly bad in the last 11 days, but I could definitely do better. I did weigh in at 197.5 this morning, so that's about a 2 pound, like almost 2 pound loss since my last video, which is not bad. Like, I'm not trying to beat myself up about it. I know that I could have gone faster, but even with all the trash and shit that I was doing, I feel like that's pretty good. I am working on being more consistent about making better food choices, and better doesn't mean good or bad food choices. It's the mindful eating for me, which is like you're paying attention to what you're eating and not being distracted by other things around you. And once a craving's satisfied, stop. If all I need is 2 or 3 bites of a donut, then you stop at 2 or 3 bites, save the donut in the fridge for later, the next time that you have a craving or whatever. So it's just more of that. I definitely have been neglecting vegetables, even though I freaking love vegetables. It's just been really hard to get them in there. Gonna practice some volume eating, so low calorie dense, high volume. Do my best to have like high protein, high fat, but there's a freaking ton of rice in it, so we'll see what happens. My homework is to kind of figure out, why should I give a fuck about myself? And I know what other people will say, but I need to feel it. And I need to have that aha moment. And I need to come to a point within myself that's just like, yes, you should be taken care of. And you should have self-worth and self-care and all that kind of stuff. Just because you are you. But then, right now, I don't know who I am. I'm 28 freaking years old. I don't know who the fuck I am. I don't know what I want to do in life. All I know is that right now, I'm trying to make sure that the bills get paid and my son is taken care of. Outside of that, I don't have any dreams or ambitions or anything like that. I'm still just like living in my la la land. like having this whole fantasy world in my head and dissociating from life. That's really all I do, is dissociate from life. Like, I have a day off today. What am I gonna do with it? Just dissociate and not do anything because I'm in pain and I'm exhausted from there's a uterus that I'm not using. And then go pick up my son from school and then go to work tomorrow. Those are the only structures of my days. So I'm sorry that this video was not an upbeat one. I'm trying my best to be honest without like feeling embarrassed for being vulnerable, because some information just I don't want to look back on and be like, oh yikes, you just really let the entire world know that. But yeah, I give you a lackluster, no one's perfect, but giving up is not an option. Even though I don't feel like it, I'm not giving up until I find it. Find the purpose, find why. So yeah, bye.